Welcome to Shadowproof. Evidence first, noise last.
Every day when we wake up from our dreams, open our eyes to welcome a new day, have you ever thought, are we truly waking up from a dream? When we walk on the street, approaching the people in front of us, do they really exist? There's a video game in the US called Grand Theft Auto, which is a real-world simulation game. Players can control a character to interact with the virtual world. Under different player controls, the game will develop different endings, just like living in the real world. With the advancement of science and technology, the realism of this game continues to improve. And this raises a question. If one day, when human technology is advanced enough, could we simulate a world exactly like the real world? And if the answer to this question is definitely yes, then how can we be sure that the world we are seeing here truly exists? In 1974, a scientist discovered a phenomenon that shouldn't exist through an experiment. At that time, everyone thought there must be something wrong with this experiment. But 46 years have passed, and people still haven't found a way to explain what was wrong with that experiment, unless this world itself is a virtual world. Today, we will use science to prove the mysterious, unexplained phenomenon in the world. It's very possible that we are actually living in a dream-like virtual world. Today, Hypnosis. In 1991, author Michael Talbot published a book called A Holographic Universe. And in the book, it mentioned that in the 1970s, he personally witnessed an incredible hypnosis experiment. That day, a hypnosis expert stood on the stage and asked if anyone in the hall was willing to undergo hypnosis. At that time, only Tom, a friend of Michael's father, raised his hand. Soon after, the expert invited Tom and his daughter, Rolla, to participate in the hypnosis together. After Tom entered the hypnotic state, the expert told Tom that when he woke up, he would not be able to see Rolla. Following that, the expert asked Rolla to stand in front of Tom and woke Tom up. He even hear Rolla. At the same time, the expert took something out of his pocket and quickly raised his hand behind Rolla's back. And then asked Tom if he could see what he was holding in his hand. And then, something strange happened. Tom calmly answered that it was a pocket watch. Do you see any other words on the watch? Tom squinted his eyes and immediately read out the commemorative inscription on the watch. This incident amazed the book's author at the time. You need to know that the hypnosis experiment just now not only proves that human consciousness is easily controlled. Even the experimental results completely contradicted the principles of physics. Because normally, human eyes cannot see through objects to directly see what is behind them. This incident quickly spread throughout the physics community. A few scientists began to think that perhaps our world does not truly exist. They believed that it is very possible that everything related to this world is programmed. Rolla, Tom's daughter, might just be a piece of program code. When the command was re-entered in Tom's field of vision, he could naturally see through his daughter and see the watch. Indeed, the scholars who proposed this idea at the time were ridiculed by mainstream scientists. It wasn't until the 21st century, after more and more virtual world video games appeared on the market, that more scientists began to pay attention to the fact that phenomena that should only exist in virtual worlds actually occur in our world. When mentioning that this world is virtual, many of you must think, how can that be? After all, this world feels so real. But do you know, humans rely on their senses to determine that the world truly exists, and senses are very unreliable. Let's do some small experiments. Everyone, try looking at this image. Do you feel like it? But magically, when we focus our attention on a specific area, it immediately stops moving. Then when we focus on the entire image, it starts moving again. Next, let's look at this image. When we focus on the small cross in the middle of the image, we discover that the small bright spheres moving around are blue. But when we follow these bright spheres, we find that the blue spheres suddenly turn purple. Isn't that magical? Both of the above experiments can confirm that objectively existing things are very likely to be misjudged by our brains, causing us to see things that shouldn't exist. This also suggests that what we consider real is just an illusion, and this illusion might exist only for you. Returning to the earlier game, in the virtual world, we can freely control characters. When we control a character to take path A, we see everything existing on path A, as if they have always lived there. That's because the computer knows you. And here's the key point. In 1974, a famous scientist, Pierre-Georges Romerly, while researching the nature of light, discovered evidence of the existence of a virtual world. The results shouldn't exist. That year, Professor Pierre-Georges Romerly conducted an experiment to study the photoelectric effect. Before the experiment, he hypothesized that the particles would move in straight lines. When a machine lost the particles, theoretically, they would pass through two slits and create two bright streaks on the screen, similar to. However, the experimental results showed many unexpected streaks on the screen. This left Professor Romerly astonished. He wondered, why was this happening? Therefore, he decided to install an additional camera during the experiment to closely observe what happened to the particles as they passed through the slits. But he didn't expect that this simple idea not only failed to answer the existing question but also revealed another major mystery of the century. In this experiment, with the exact same procedure, the multiple streaks on the screen suddenly turned into two reasonable straight streaks. Clearly, before that, when there was no camera, multiple streaks had appeared. No matter how many times Romerly tried, as long as he placed the camera, the experimental results became two reasonable straight streaks. As if the particles knew someone was observing them and were forced to behave obediently and reasonably. This result also matched the previously mentioned electron behavior model. Even the world we see might only exist when we look at it. Awakening. Recently, a piece of news caught everyone's attention. A British girl named Juliana, after an accident 5 years ago, refused to eat anything. During that time, her parents continuously persuaded her, even taking her to see many doctors. They hoped she could return to a normal diet, but all efforts were in vain. Finally, with no other choice, her parents followed the doctor's advice and took her to see a hypnotherapist to find out why their daughter refused to eat. As a result, under hypnosis, Juliana said she believed there was no food in the world that humans could eat. Everyone realized that the things in their hands didn't. After several hypnotherapy sessions, the specialist successfully implanted a new subconscious into her brain, telling Juliana that food was delicious and humans couldn't live without eating. Words like, this inevitably made people think of the movie The Matrix. Those living in the virtual world sustain their lives by directly providing nutrition to their bodies, and thus, food becomes unnecessary. Besides the above story, in a 2016 program, someone asked Tesla founder Elon Musk whether, if science and technology continue to develop, humans could create a virtual world in the future. And immediately, Elon Musk answered without hesitation that there's only a 1 in a billion% chance that this world truly exists. Real, as Elon Musk said, then the mentioned experiment in Juliana. And of course, the Mandela effect is only noticed by those who are awakened, that this world is truly much crazier than imagined. And the only question is, if you could choose, would you want to awaken? Thank you for watching. If you'd like, please subscribe to watch the next videos, or if you have time, check out more videos from this channel. Subscribe to the Gian Migo channel so you don't miss exciting videos.
If the proof convinced you, subscribe and open the next case.